Buenos días, estimados amigos,
Good day, dear friends,
señores, señores y señoras.
ladies and gentlemen.
También un saludo para los organizadores de este magno evento,
My greeting to the organizers of this great event
que nos da la posibilidad
that gave us this opportunity
de expresar nuestras experiencias en público
to express our experiences publicly
con personas que ya no vienen por curiosidad,
with individuals, with people who no longer come out of curiosity,
sino porque algo más allá de su mente los impulsa a saber.
because something beyond their academic nature pushes them to come here, impels them to come here.
Para poder iniciar mi conferencia,
In order to initiate my own conference,
he hecho en todos los países de Europa y América Latina,
I've made in all the countries of Europe and Latin America,
donde he dictado conferencias en congresos y en universidades,
where I have given conferences at seminars and at universities.
dos palabras que he considerado muy importantes:
Two words that I consider very important.
plasticidad mental.
Mental flexibility. New word, plasticidad.
Si no hay plasticidad mental,
If there is no mental flexibility,
no podemos penetrar en el complejo tremendo de los UFO.
we are not able to penetrate the very complex issue of UFOs.
El fenómeno ovni es el reto más grande a la humanidad.
The UFO phenomena is the greatest issue for humanity.
He considerado durante estos últimos 20 años,
I have considered for these last 20 years,
cuando me convertí en investigador de mi propio caso,
when I became an investigator of my very own case,
comparado con otros casos alrededor del mundo,
comparing it to other cases around the world,
y me di cuenta que estaba sucediendo algo excepcional,
and I became aware that something very exceptional was occurring,
en donde todos nosotros estamos involucrados,
in which all of us are involved,
lo queramos o no.
whether we want to be or not.
He podido hablar con los grandes científicos e investigadores del mundo,
I have been able to speak to the greatest scientists in the world.
he oído sus teorías, sus hipótesis y sus trabajos.
I have listened to their theories, their hypotheses, and their work.
Lo que ellos han descubierto con muchos años de trabajo también.
What they have discovered over the course of a great deal of work as well.
A través de estos años,
Through these years,
desde que fui invitado al primer Congreso Mundial de los UFO,
since I was invited to the very first World Conference for UFOs,
fue en Wiesbaden, Alemania, en 1975.
which was in
Wiesbaden,
Wiesbaden,
Alemania.
Germany, in 1975. 1975.
Me pude dar cuenta en este Congreso,
I became aware at this conference,
cuando tenía el público al frente,
as I was facing the public,
estaba sumamente nervioso
I was extremely nervous
porque nunca me había dirigido a una audiencia tan extraordinaria como esa.
because I had never confronted or presented myself to an audience as extraordinary as that one.
Muchos investigadores y científicos se encontraban allí.
Many investigators as well as scientists were present.
Yo me sentía como la cenicienta del grupo.
I felt like the Cinderella of the group.
Pero algo de pronto hizo que se prendiera el bombillo.
But something suddenly made the light bulb turn on.
me di cuenta que hasta el día que me tocaba hablar,
I became aware on the day that it was my turn to speak,
se dieron muchos cálculos, números y procedimientos muy técnicos.
on that day there were presented a large number of very scientific facts, numbers, hypotheses, calculations.
Pero eso no era lo que estaba esperando oír el público presente.
But that wasn't what that public was expecting to hear.
Necesitaban algo que los lanzara
They
al
needed,
espacio exterior.
they needed something that will launch them into outer space.
Y ese algo
And that something
podía ser que yo lo tuviera en ese momento para revolucionar la conducta humana.
could have been perhaps something that I had at that moment to revolutionize human behavior.
La revolución del espíritu,
The revolution of the spirit.
sin armas. Sin armas,
Without arms, peacefully.
sin uniformes,
Without uniforms.
sin vestidos blancos,
Without white dresses.
solamente y únicamente,
Only and
solamente
Singularly.
y únicamente,
only and singularly.
con el conocimiento y la sabiduría de los tiempos.
With the knowledge and the wisdom of that time.
Cuando toqué este punto en el corazón de las personas,
When I touched this point in the heart of these individuals,
noté inmediatamente
I noticed immediately
la respuesta.
the response.
Estamos abocados a un cambio cultural.
We are advocating, abogados dice?
Abocados.
Sí, we are advocating a cultural change.
Un cambio de programa,
A change of program
donde todos los esquemas mentales
where all of the mental schematics
podrían llegar a desaparecer
could possibly disappear
al no tener sustento espiritual.
at not having a spiritual intent.
Por eso, durante este tiempo,
And for this reason, during this time,
he podido conocer a los primeros científicos espiritualistas de la era.
I have been able to meet the great spiritual investigators, the great spiritual
Scientists.
scientists of this era, of this age.
Thank you. Thank you. En ese momento renové también mi espíritu
At that moment, I also renewed my own spirit.
y me di cuenta de la importancia capital
And I became aware of the capital importance
que el hombre,
that mankind,
el individuo,
the individual,
el anciano,
the older aged person,
el joven
the young person,
y el niño
and the youth
fueran tocados por esta fuente espiritual.
could be touched by this spiritual fountain.
Pero también tuve temor y tuve miedo,
But I also felt fear and I was afraid
porque la gente es muy proclive hacia el misticismo.
because people have this proclivity towards mysticism.
Y el misticismo, mal entendido,
And mysticism, when it is misunderstood,
produce fanáticos.
produces fanatics.
Los fanáticos son los más peligrosos que los asesinos.
The fanatics are worse than the assassins
El fanático mata el espíritu humano.
because the fanatics kill the human spirit.
Como dice el amigo mío investigador de los Vilches,
Because, as my friend says, Enrique Vilches,
Ricardo y Carlos Vilches,
both Ricardo and Carlos Vilches,
necesitamos místicos pero desmistificados.
we need mystics, but they must be demystified.
Así inicié mi correría por países europeos y de América Latina.
That is how I initiated my tours through South and Central America, Latin America,
Contando mi historia
telling my story
sin tener pruebas de lo que decía,
without proof of what I was saying.
pero algo me impulsaba a seguir y seguir.
But something impelled me to continue and continue.
Cuando en ese momento mi esposa
When at that moment, my wife
me pidió la separación, el divorcio.
asked me for a divorce.
Ella dijo que yo estaba loco de remate.
She said I was absolutely crazy.
Mis hijos me pidieron callarme la boca y no hablar en público.
My children asked me to be quiet and not speak publicly.
Pero yo ya había tomado la determinación
But I had already determined
de que lo que a mí me había pasado
that what had happened to me,
tenía que compartirlo con quien deseara escucharme,
I had to share it with whoever wanted to hear it,
sin intentar probarle nada.
without having to prove anything to them.
En primer lugar,
In the first place,
hay hombres y mujeres
there are men and women
que cuando escuchan la verdad,
that when they hear the truth,
se establece una comunicación entre el oyente y el que habla.
a communication is established between the speaker and the listener.
Y la gente sabrá que les están diciendo la verdad.
And those individuals, the people, the listeners, will know that they are listening to the truth.
Logré durante este tiempo
I was able to, during this time,
poder mejorar mi vocabulario.
to increase my vocabulary.
Adquirí de alguna manera que no conozco
I was able to achieve, through a method that I'm not aware of,
una gran memoria.
a great memory.
Todos los investigadores que se han llegado a Enrique Castillo,
All investigators that have come to study Enrique Castillo,
cuando ellos hablan de mí en sus libros, reportajes, conferencias,
when they speak of me in their books, in their reports, and in their conferences,
dicen que tal vez lo más extraordinario que me ha pasado es mi memoria.
they say that perhaps what is the most extraordinary thing that has happened to me is my memory.
Todos estos investigadores
All of these investigators
que llegaron
that have come to me
a conocer a Enrique Castillo,
and have come to know Enrique Castillo,
inicialmente querían ponerme en ridículo,
and who actually wanted to ridicule me or debunk me,
desenmascarar a este farsante.
to take the mask off of this fraud.
Me decían en muchas partes las calumnias más increíbles.
They would tell me in many places the calamities, the lies that were told about me.
Decían las cosas más feas acerca de mí.
They would say the most horrible things about me.
Pero así como había gente que me atacaba,
But as there were people who would attack me,
había mucha gente que me defendía
there were also
fuertemente.
people who would defend me strongly.
Entre todos estos investigadores,
And among these investigators,
todos llegaron a ser amigos míos.
they finally all came to be friends of mine.
Gané credibilidad.
I was able to win, to triumph with credibility.
Tengo, como dicen ustedes, background.
I have now, as you say here, a background.
Gracias a esta amistad con estos tremendos investigadores,
And thanks to these friendships with these incredible investigators,
pude constatar y averiguar
I was able to establish and to ascertain, to verify,
que se estaba gestando un movimiento